In this video, I'm going to be rating and improving you guys' teams here in NBA 2K23 Myteam yet again. If you want to be featured in the next video, make sure to go ahead and follow me on Twitter at GrimFateYT and go ahead and wait for my newest tweet that I'll be putting out in the next couple days to do another one of these videos. So follow me on Twitter at GrimFateYT and respond to my tweet whenever I put it out. But let's get straight into these teams. Actually, first of all, make sure to go ahead and leave a like on this video right now. Leave a like right now and subscribe to the channel. And let's get straight into these teams. So for the first team here, it's going to be by Esteban. He's got Magic, Pippen, Dirk Nowitzki, Ilgauskas, and Murison. Off the bench, he has Jokic, Danny Granger, Bobo, Embiid, and Mark Eaton. He thinks about changing Bobo for his hero version or getting a starting shooting guard and putting Scotty on the bench. I personally, so you say you have 125,000 MT. What I would honestly do here is, let's see. I would honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I would sell the Scottie Pippen. I think you could sell him for about 100K. And then go ahead and, honestly, I would just buy, what's his name? Kevin Durant instead. So I think if you sell Scottie Pippen and a couple guys off your bench, like maybe Danny Granger and stuff of that nature, I would go ahead and buy KD. 6'10", he's going to be at the shooting guard. He's going to be the best shooting guard of the year. There's going to be nobody better than him all year. So I think you should improve him up to KD. And if you can do that without having to sell Scotty, then that's even better because then you can put Scotty on the bench and replace a Bobo. But if you have to sell Scotty, I think it still ends up being worth doing it. Next team's going to be by Percy here. He has 50,000 MT. He's got Cade Cunningham, Kevin Durant, Wemby, Porzingis, and Yao Ming. First of all, I see that you have Taco off your bench. If that Taco is badged out, I would definitely start him over the Porzingis. I think he's a lot better. I recently made the switch myself. And then the rest of the starting lineup is really good. The Cade is really underrated. I personally think that you should go ahead and pick up... Oh, you do have Jonathan Bender on the bench as well. Honestly, this is a really solid squad then. I would just say try to look to make endgame improvements. I mean, if you can try to save up for an endgame point guard, I think that's the main thing you should try to focus on doing. Even if you just spend 100K and get like a Luka, I think an endgame point guard would be the really only thing that you can do to improve this team. Everything else is good. Good height, good everything all around. Next team is going to be 2K Fan 2004. You have Endgame KD and he's not on the team. Yeah, he should definitely be on the team. I don't know why he's not. He should be on the team. And then Tim Thomas is a backup shooting guard. But then you've got Lamar Odom, who's really good. Bobo's really good. Porzingis, Yao Ming. Again, the Porzingis is solid, but if you're looking for improvements to the team, I think you should definitely get a badged out Taco Fall with at least 20 Hall of Fames, the pink diamond one. As your starting power forward and move Porzingis to the bench and get rid of the Jokic off your bench. Amen Thompson's really good. He's actually underrated. And then Mark Eaton, everything else is looking really good with this squad. The next team's going to be 2K Snipe here. He has no MT, so I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but let's see. Amen Thompson, Ricky Davis, Jonathan Bender, Porzingis, and Yao Ming. Again, the Porzingis is definitely good, but if you are looking for improvements, the Taco is better. Like I said, I recently made the switch myself in the Pink Diamond Taco. If you have at least 20 Hall of Fames on him, is definitely better than the Porzingis. But Porzingis is still solid off the bench, and he's a better cheap option because he is cheaper. He's a lot cheaper, but the Taco's only about 17K. I would honestly get rid of Ricky Davis, put Jonathan Bender at the shooting guard, and get Bobo as your small forward. Other than that, I would also go ahead and pick up Jokic as your point guard, move him into the bench, and sell LaMelo Ball. And then I would also look to improve. I mean, I'd put Ricky Davis off the bench and get rid of RJ Barrett for sure. And then if you got the Taco and you have Porzingis ahead of the LaMarcus Aldridge, you'll be set. Next team is going to be by Marp here. Let's see what you've got. You've got Lamar Odom, Kuzma, Bender, Tim Duncan, and Yao Ming. The first thing I would say is look to improve that power forward spot. I even think the Varejao off your bench is a lot better, so I would just swap the Varejao and the Tim Duncan. The Varejao is actually a really good card. Then off the bench, I would swap Ben Simmons for Jokic as your point guard. And then as your shooting guard off the bench, I mean, honestly, I'd switch Bender to the 2 in the starting lineup and, again, get Bobo at the small forward. A lot of people run Bender in the 3, and there's no problem with that. But if you can just swap him to the 2, he's a lot better at the 2, and then Bobo at the 3 is really solid as well. And then bring Kuzma off the bench as your backup shooting guard, get rid of Ron Artest, and everything else looks good on this team. Next team is going to be by 34-point buck. He's got Cade Cunningham, Tim Thomas, Jason Tatum, Ilgauskas, and Manu Bol. Then he's got Jerry Stackhouse, Bender, Zion, Ben Wallace, and Yao Ming. The starting lineup looks really solid, and I think you can compete with that team. So I'm not going to say anything with the starting lineup. But off the bench, I would definitely get rid of Zion Williamson, Ben Wallace, and Jerry Stackhouse. Backup point guard, I'd go with either Jokic or Ben Simmons. Backup small forward, I'd look to get somebody like T-Mac maybe even, or Tim Thomas. But you already have him in the starting lineup. So I would honestly get Bobo as your backup small forward if you can. That's going to be a good 7-2 option there. And then as your backup power forward, I would just pick up Porzingis for only a couple thousand MT. He's going to be a lot better than the Ben Wallace. Next team is going to be by Lucius. He's got 70,000 MT. Really good squad here. Great height, great defense all around. Starting lineup looks immaculate. There's really nothing I can say with the starting lineup. Off the bench, you've got Jordan, Bender, Paolo Banchero, Embiid, and Yao Ming. Again, a really good bench here. This is one of the best teams of... This is so far the best team of today's video. So, to be honest with you, I mean, it's going to be just picking at hairs here to try to improve this team. I mean... I think you should just save up for an endgame center or power forward, and other than that, the rest of the teams are really good. There's nothing I can really say, bro. 50,000 MT, okay. Yeah, bro. I mean, okay, bro. All right, yeah. I mean, what am I supposed to say with these teams, boys? I mean, these teams are absolutely stacked. There's nothing I can say to improve them. You say you have a lot of... Okay, is this a troll? You have 20 MT in your account. You're running pink diamonds over dark matters. Yeah, man. You just have the full out of position lineup. I think you're trolling, my boy. You have 100,000 MT, Mikhail. You've got Jokic, Kevin Durant, Wembanyama, Sean Bradley, Manu Bol. That's a 10 out of 10 starting lineup. I have that same Jokic card as well. And then you've got Cade Cunningham, Bender, Moses Malone, Embiid, and Yao Ming. Again, picking at hairs to try to improve this team. I really don't know what to say. You have the best small forward in the game, one of the best point guards, best power forward, best center, best shooting guard. There's nothing I can say about this team. Your team is stacked. Just play the game and have fun for the rest of the year, bro. Angel Gant, he's going to have Curry. You said you're about to have Endgame KD. That's really good. Move him to the shooting guard and bring T-Mac off the bench. Tim Thomas is good at the 3, Taco, and Yao. I would look to sell the Yao and get the Dark Matter one. It's not that much of a difference, but, I mean, it's not that much MT more to get the Dark Matter Yao. And since you have a lot of MT, I think it's worth doing it. Off the bench, having Luka is solid. And then you'll have T-Mac, Marbury, Pippen. Yeah, you definitely just need to improve your bench. I think you should get... Like I said, improve the Yao Ming to a Dark Matter Yao. Get Ralph Sampson, Dark Matter off your bench. Get Porzingis off your bench, and your team will be a lot better. Eddie has got a team right here. You have Ilgauskas now at the shooting guard with T-Mac off the bench. Okay, I would honestly put Jokic over Curry, but if you do like 3-hunting with Curry, then keep him there. I don't know what's up with this Ben Wallace, but this Ben Wallace needs to go. He's definitely pretty trash. So I would look to get Taco Fall. But it looks like you don't have a lot of MT, so honestly, I would get Porzingis. Get Porzingis as your power forward, and then you have a lot of improvements to make to the bench. But you'll have T-Mac down there, so that'll help it out a lot. Look to get guys like Bobo. Look to get guys like Taco. Look to get guys like Ralph, or you already have Ralph Sampson, so maybe get Opal Yao off the bench. A couple things you need to do. 50,000 MT for Voidless. He's got Lamar Odom, Tim Thomas, Bobo, Murasan, and Yao Ming. That's a really, really good starting lineup. Off the bench, you've got Jokic, Bender, Pokachevsky, what's his name? Wembanyama, and then Mark Eaton. I would sell the Wemby if you can, because you're going to get like 90,000 MT out of that, or like 80,000 MT. You'll be at like 120K if you sell him. And then with all that MT, you can literally just buy back, what's his name? Taco Fall, Pink Diamond for only about 17K and replace him there. And then you're going to have like a lot of MT to work with if you sell that Wemby. Then you could look to improve that backup small forward to somebody like, I don't know. I mean, Endgame. Honestly, I would just look to get like an Endgame small forward and then move Bobo to the bench. Next team's going to be Eddie. Okay, you already entered your team. Boogie or Boom, whatever this name is. You've got 150K. Magic, Bender, Bobo, Murasan, Yao, Jokic, Dale Ellis, Tim Thomas, Evan Mobley, and Porzingis. I would get rid of the Porzingis. I think he's a lot better at the power forward. And off the bench, I would look to pick up, honestly, I would look to pick up Ralph Sampson as your backup center. I think he's a lot better at the center spot. And then I would look to improve that backup shooting guard to Radiant T-Mac. And those are the main things I'd say for your squad. And then from there, just look to make improvements all around, like within just upgrading players. 84,000 MT. You've got Jokic, T-Mac, Bobo, Wilt, and Yao. That's a really good lineup. I like it a lot. And then you've got Bender, Cade, Tim Thomas, Porzingis, and Ralph. I would just swap Bender and T-Mac. I think Bender and T-Mac are the same exact card, except Bender's 4 inches taller. So I would just move Bender to the starting shooting guard. And then the rest of your team just looks really good. Just grind up MT and look to get endgames. Look to get an endgame point guard, endgame small forward. Just look to make those big improvements. 48,000 MT. You can't sell Wemby or Manute. You've got Cade, KD, Wemby, Manute, and Yao. Then you've got Curry, T-Mac, Tim Thomas, Porzingis, and Ralph. Your team's damn near 10 out of 10. There's nothing I can say with this team. Need a better backup front court. Okay, so you've got Magic, Kevin Durant, Porzingis, Ilgauskas, and Murashan. Then you've got Lamar Odom, Tim Thomas, Bobo, Embiid, and Artis Gilmore. I would look to get Dark Matter Yao Ming as your backup center for sure. Other than that, the Embiid is good at the backup power forward. The Bobo is good. The Tim Thomas is good. The Lamar is good. I mean, that's the main thing I would say that you should do. And then you've got a lot of end games on the team. 110,000 MT for Yo-Yo. You've got Jokic, Kevin Durant, Bender, Porzingis, and Yao Ming. Very good starting lineup. I would say do the same thing I did. Sell that Porzingis. And then go ahead and buy a badged up Taco Fall with 20 plus Hall of Fames. And me personally, I've liked him a lot better at the power forward than Porzingis. Then off the bench, you've got Darren Williams. All right, yeah, you definitely need a better backup point, my boy. I would look to get Ben Simmons as a backup point guard for only about 5 to 10,000 MT. And then you've got T-Mac, Pokachevsky, and everything else looks really solid. The next team's going to be by Jesse. He's got Ben Simmons, Cade. You have 6,000 MT. All right, Bobo, Porzingis, and Ralph Sampson. I would look to get Galaxy Opal Yao Ming as your starting center. Move Ralph Sampson to the bench. And then you can have D-Rob's a solid backup power forward, Pokachevsky. And then you definitely need a better backup shooting guard. So I'd look to get somebody like a Radiant T-Mac for only about 7 to 8,000 MT. Uncle Figi, you have 64,000 MT. You've got Curry, Bender, Bobo, Nowitzki, and Yao. I would look to sell the Nowitzki for Taco Fall. And then you've got Jokic, T-Mac, Pokachevsky, Porzingis, and D-Rob. I would look to get Ralph Sampson as the backup center. And everything else on the team looks good. 51,000 MT on Mark Eaton. I don't know what you're even saying, but you've got Cade Cunningham, LeBron James, Jonathan Isaac, Pokachevsky, and Mo Bamba. So right away, this team is too short. I think LeBron should be coming off the bench, and you should get rid of Scottie Pippen completely. Other than that, I would look to get a taller backup point guard like a Jokic or a Ben Simmons. The Jonathan Isaac should be moved to the shooting guard. Pokachevsky to the small forward. Bamba to the 4. And then also go ahead and get Dark Matter Yao Ming. 130,000 MT. You're trying to get endgame Magic. That would be a great addition to the team. And then you can move Curry to the backup point guard. So you should definitely do that. The rest of the starting lineup looks pretty solid. But then off the bench, you definitely need a lot of improvements to make. Get people like Ralph Sampson as your backup center. Look to get Taco Fall and move Porzingis to the backup power forward. And then look to get somebody like Tim Thomas as your backup or your starting small forward and bring Pokachevsky to the bench. You've got Curry, Kevin Durant, Pippen, Ben Wallace, and Ralph Sampson. It's a solid team. Me personally, I would go ahead and, well, it looks like they're all unauctionable. Your whole team's unauctionable, so I don't really know what to say since you have not a lot of MT. I would just grind MT and try to get Pippen and Ben Wallace to the bench and put Tim Thomas as your starting small forward, only 4,000 MT, and then your starting power forward, Porzingis, which is only going to cost you about 10,000 MT in and of itself. 4,500 MT, you're looking to improve that backup small forward. Yeah, as a backup small forward, you can go ahead and get somebody like a Bobo for only about 20,000 MT. Maxwell, Stenberg, 15,000 MT. You've got Jokic, Kevin Durant, Zion, Tim Duncan, and then Yao Ming. I would look to get rid of that Zion completely. He's just not good. He's too short at this point in the year. I would put Bender there as a starting small forward and then bring Zion to the bench at least. And then the rest of the team is pretty solid. I would honestly look to sell Ricky Davis and improve him with Ben Simmons. I do like those taller point guards personally. JC Wisdom's got Curry, Tim Thomas, Giannis, Shaq, and Mark Eaton. A really solid starting lineup right here. Then you've got Porzingis, Embiid, Wembanyama. I mean, the bench just isn't sorted, so I'm kind of confused on what I'm looking at the bench. But for the starting lineup, it's pretty good. I think that Giannis is a little bit outdated at this point in the year, but if you're cheesy with him, he might be solid still. The Shaq's really good. The Eaton's really good. The Tim is really good. So this is a solid team. Sylvan's got Ben Simmons, Bender, Wemby, Taco, and Manu. 10 out of 10 starting lineup. Off the bench, you've got T-Mac, Isaac, Tim Thomas, Murison, and Mark Eaton. 10 out of 10 backup. So you have the best team of today's video. So your team is definitely good. 250,000 MT. You've got Cade, Karolinko, Bobo, Embiid, and Yao Ming. I would honestly get rid of the Karolinko, and even though Bender's way cheaper, I think he's actually better at the shooting guard than the Karolinko. So I'd get Bender, get rid of Karolinko completely. Wait. You have 250 MT, not 250,000. All right, bro. I mean, what am I supposed to do with this? I mean, the team is good, though. It's a really good team, but I would swap Karolinko, sell him, and pick up Bender instead. I think he's a lot better. Or just sell the T-Mac off the bench and then buy Bender and put Karolinko as the backup shooting guard. That's probably the better move. And then look to get Ralph Sampson as your backup center. And then also, yeah, no, that's it. 4,000 MT, you've got Jokic, LeBron James, you've got Wembanyama, Manu Bol, and Shaq. Swap Shaq and Manu Bol. Shaq should be the power forward. Manu Bol should be the center. Manu's way taller. The rest of the starting lineup actually looks really good. I would get rid of that Ray Allen off the bench, and I would also look to put Yao Ming. I mean, I would start Yao Ming over the Shaq, bring Shaq to the bench, and run Shaq and Ilgauskas as your backup bigs, and completely get rid of Wilt completely. Or no, I would get rid of I don't know. I would get rid of Ilgauskas. So put Shaq as your backup power forward. Manu is your starting center. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, bro. You really confuse me. I don't know what you're doing. You need to improve that. I don't know. You already made a feature in the video. Noah is going to say he's got Clyde, Jason Tatum, Bobo, Wembanyama, and Yao Ming. You definitely need to improve that starting point guard spot. You only have 4,000 MT. I'd just save up for Jokic. He's only about 10K. Sure, or about 13K. You only have 7K. You're brand new to the game. Yeah, this team is pretty trash, my boy. I think you just need to stack your MT up to about 100K and just listen to some of the things I've said earlier in the video about all those good cards so you can make your team a lot better. What's up, Hawk? You've got Giannis, Kevin Durant, Wembanyama, Manu, and Yao. That's an elite starting lineup, 10 out of 10. Off the bench, you've got Curry, Bender, Bobo, Porzingis, and Sean Bradley. Again, we'll just swap the Porzingis for Taco off the bench, and I think that's the only improvement you need to make. Your team is elite. 200,000 MT. You've got Curry, Bender, Bobo, Embiid, and Yao Ming. Then you've got Penny, Jokic, Jason Tatum, Mobley, and Ralph. Very good team all around. If you have 200K, at this point, I would just save up for I would honestly save up for like an endgame shooting guard or small forward. Some options you can think of would be endgame Jason Tatum, endgame Bobo, just improving him. That would be about 350K. I think that's what you should honestly do. You've got Jokic, Jonathan Isaac, Wembanyama, Manu, and Yao. Elite starting lineup. Then you've got Luka Doncic, Jonathan Bender, Bobo, Ilgauskas, and Murison. Very good team. Again, I would just stack up MT and look to make endgame improvements. I would honestly get the endgame Jokic. He's under 200K, and that's what I would do if I were you. Stack up and get enough MT to do that. Next team is going to be Cade, Isaac, Tim Thomas, Manu Bol, and Murison. Then off the bench, you just need to make a lot of improvements off the bench. That Wes Unseld is very outdated. I would get Jokic. Other than that, the Dale Ellis, I would look to get somebody like Jonathan Bender off the bench. And then you have Mark Eaton, but the Jokic, obviously you're going to have point guard Jokic there instead, so I'd look to get Pink Diamond Taco full. Caden here is going to have LaMelo Ball, Jerry Stackhouse, Bobo, Porzingis, and Patrick Ewing. So you need to improve the center spot and the shooting guard spot. So at the shooting guard, I would spend only 4,000 or about 7,000 MT, to get Jonathan Bender. And at the center spot, I would spend about 10 to 15K to get Galaxy Opal Yao Ming, who can definitely get the job done at the center, and then move those other guys to the bench. 185,000 MT, you've got Jokic, KD, Bobo, Murison, and Yao Ming. Very good starting lineup if you just started this season for sure. Nothing I can really say there. And then the bench is elite as well. You definitely know what you're doing with this team. Like, you know how to, like, put the correct heights at the certain positions, and you have a good idea for what cards are good in the game. So honestly, again, I would just say look to make endgame improvements. Try to get, I mean, you have enough to get endgame Jokic. I would do that. I personally had that same Jokic at the point guard, and I switched him out for the endgame, and he is 10 times better with the endgame, and I got him for only 160K. 7,000 MT, you've got Jokic, Cade, Bobo, Porzingis, and Ralph Sampson. That's a really good starting lineup. Then off the bench, you're going to have a lot of improvements to make off the bench. Just do a lot of the things I said earlier. 100,000 MT here. You need a backup point guard. Vince is decent. Vince is definitely decent, but he is definitely a little bit short. The starting lineup is elite. You got 100,000 MT. I would honestly just save up MT to improve the Bobo, because if you improve the Bobo to either an endgame Bobo or an endgame Dirk Nowitzki, which are the two of the best small forwards in the game, your lineup is going to go from a 9 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. So I'd save up for one of those. Thinking about getting Hero Bobo and putting Bender on the bench. That would be a good idea. I think you should do that. This is an elite team. I mean, you have a lot of height. A lot of the best players in the game. I think the Dissinger is too short to be the small forward off the bench. I think it's time to let go of him and get Tim Thomas. Or if you do get that Bobo, actually, no, you should get that Hero Bobo and move Bender to the bench over the Dissinger, and your team will be a lot better. 150,000 MT, you've got Kawhi, Kevin Durant, Wemby, Manu, and Murison, 10 out of 10 starting lineup. Then you've got Curry, Tim Thomas, Pokachevsky, Embiid, and Mark Eaton. I think a lot of people use that Pokachevsky. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think you should swap him out for Jonathan Bender. And I think Bender will be a lot better there, and that's the main thing you should do. 111,000 MT. You've got Curry, T-Mac, Pokachevsky, again with the Pokachevsky. But then Taco and Yao. I would improve the Yao to a dark matter Yao. I would also go ahead and get Jonathan Bender and get rid of T-Mac completely and have Tim Thomas as your backup shooting guard. And then as your starting small forward, I'd look to get Bobo and sell the Pokachevsky and use Markkanen off the bench. The next team here is going to be by Seth. He's got Curry, Manu, Danny Granger, Marc Gasol, and Porzingis. I would use Danny Granger as a shooting guard, get rid of Ginobili completely, get Jokic as your starting point guard, bring Curry to the bench. I would go ahead and get Bobo as your small forward, Porzingis, move him to the 4, bring Gasol to the backup power forward, get rid of Patrick Ewing, and then put Opal Yao as your center. What's up, Darren? You've got 24,000 MT, full endgame starting lineup. Definitely nothing I can hate on here. I mean, I would just say move Shaq to the power forward, put Embiid as a backup power forward, and get Dark Matter Yao as your starting center. You do have enough MT to do that, and that's what you should go ahead and do. Allen here has got Giannis, T-Mac. Okay, you're stacked out, my boy. Should you sell LaMelo? Yeah, I would sell LaMelo. I would sell LaMelo and move Tim to the backup shooting guard. And then from there, you can go ahead and get a backup small forward, like I would say, because then you would have over like 250K. So once you have 250K, I think you'd have enough for somebody like either a Dirk or a Bobo as your backup small forward. And it would be a lot better with Tim Thomas as your backup too. You've got T-Mac, Luka, and Bender are fully badged out. So if that's the case, then those three definitely need to stay. But then you've got Embiid and Ralph. You have 692,000 MT, and this is your team? Bro, use your MT, bro. Use your MT. That's all I have to say. Use your MT. Get a bunch of end games. I used all my MT. It's just worth it. At this point in the year, don't sit on your MT, bro. Use all your MT and make your team better. Yeah, you need to get rid of the Drazen Petrovic. That's really the only issue with the team. Yeah, just get rid of the Drazen Petrovic, my boy. Yeah, this team is trash, bro. 150,000 MT started last month. You've got LeBron, KD, Pokachevsky, Embiid, and Yao. Very good starting lineup. Off the bench, I would look to get Jokic as your backup point guard off the bench. As your backup small forward off the bench, I would get Bobo actually and move him to the starting small forward and put Pokachevsky off the bench. 500,000 MT. Again, if you have that much MT, just get end games. I mean, you have enough MT to get multiple end games. Just go ahead and do that. 110K, you've got Vince, KD, Bender, Pokachevsky, and Wilt. I would get Dark Matter Yao. I would get Pink Diamond Taco, move the other two to the bench, and you'll be set. 20,000 MT, very good starting lineup. Bench looks solid. I would get Taco as your starting power forward and move Mobley to the backup power forward. 200,000 MT, and you're willing to sell anything but Kobe and LeBron. Very good starting lineup though. So I mean, I don't think you even need to sell them. And a very good bench as well. I would sell the Wembanyama off the bench. If you sell the Wembanyama off the bench, I think you would, and then grind a little bit of MT, you would almost have enough to go ahead and get the Endgame Wembanyama, which is going to be a lot better, and you can start him and put KD at the 2 and bring LeBron off the bench. Yeah, height is definitely more important, my boy. Height, you need a lot of height in this game, and this lineup is going to get killed by anybody with height. So, I mean, you just need to listen to a lot of the things I said earlier. Get guys like Yao, Taco, Bender, and that'll be a good thing to do. 37,000 MT, you've got Luka, T-Mac, Jason Tatum, Wilt, and Mark Eaton. Solid starting lineup. I would switch out Luka for out-of-position Jokic, and that's what I would do. 21,000 MT, appreciate it, Craig. Really good starting lineup. The bench, I would look to get a Bender as your backup small, honestly, as your starting shooting guard, and bring Danny Granger to the bench as your backup shooting guard with Tim as your backup small forward, and get Taco Fall as your... yeah, you kind of have people at weird positions. I mean, yeah, I would get Taco as your backup power forward. You've got Lonzo, KD, Kristaps, Murison, and Manute, elite starting lineup. Then you've got Luka, Isaac, Bobo, Taco, and Yao, elite bench. You're good, bro. 10,000 MT, and you can sell Bobo. Yeah, you need to move that Karl Anthony Towns to the starting power forward, and then get Opal Yao as your starting center, and get rid of Ben Wallace, or just move him to the bench over Jokic, and your team will be a lot better. And then you also need a backup point guard, and I would look to get Ben Simmons or Jokic. 150,000 MT. If you pay no attention to your bench and you play unlimited, that's bad, but it's not that bad, honestly. I would just look to get Ralph Sampson, Taco Fall, and Tim Thomas off your bench. 26,000 MT if Anderson sells. Starting lineup looks really good. And the bench looks really good. Your team's solid, bro. Just make little improvements all around and you'll be good. And that's going to be it. So, a lot of teams in today's video, 70-something teams. And if you want to be featured in and by the way, guys, I showed every team that replied to the correct tweet. So if you didn't see your team, you were either too late. I'm filming this on Thursday, so I'm posting it on Thursday, and I'm filming it on Thursday. So if you didn't make it, that means you just didn't reply to the tweet. So don't come at me saying this crazy stuff, all right? And if you want to be featured in the next video, make sure you go ahead and follow me on Twitter at GrimFateYT. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'm out of here, boys. Peace out.